Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Astrology News Report, presenting an alternate view of world events as seen through the lens of Vedic astrology. I'm Ron Berger, and today is September 29th, 2024. In this report, we'll take a look at what's coming up in the zodiac for October 2024. But before we begin, an important reminder. The weekly videos on this channel are available to people who donate to the channel. You are watching the once-a-month free public video. If you would like to have access to the upcoming month's weekly reports, stick around for the link at the end of this video to make your donation. Thanks. The new moon on October 2nd will be an annular solar eclipse, the so-called Ring of Fire eclipse, where the disk of the moon doesn't totally cover the sun. This eclipse will be seen over the Pacific Ocean and be visible to the residents of the tip of South America and Antarctica. In Vedic astrology, an eclipse is supposed to damage the energy of the month, making that lunar month weaker for successful endeavors. This eclipse is notable due to the close conjunction with Mercury, giving the lunar month that's coming an emphasis on the significations of Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communications and therefore the media. Mercury is also the planet of rational thinking, and therefore essential to making reasonable decisions. Since it's the planet of making choices, Mercury is the planet of voting. So this conjunction, which is happening in Virgo, the sign of details and analysis, is particularly good for media analysis. Also notable is the full moon, which happens on October 17th, because it'll be in the first degree of Aries, an important point in the zodiac. The first degree of the zodiac is auspicious for new things, and it's an insertion point for promoting your desires, therefore a good time for your prayers. It will be at dawn on the east coast of the U.S. In the Hindu calendar, this is the lunar month of Ashvina, a lunar month that indicates new beginnings. Jupiter begins its once-a-year retrograde period on October 9th. The planet of increase, prosperity, and optimism will be appearing to go backwards in the zodiac for the next 4 months, until February 4th. The retrograde movement causes a planet's significations to be held back from normal expression and suggests some sort of connection with the past. Since Jupiter is the main benefic planet in Vedic astrology, this is something of a concern. For instance, the planet of increase and prosperity, held back from normal progress, can make the economic picture slow down. The planet of optimism, going backwards, can make people more pessimistic. On the other hand, Jupiter, the planet of opportunity, going back over a previously traversed sector of the zodiac, is good for going back to the past and checking back on opportunities that did not initially pan out. They may be worth a second look. Jupiter, the planet of wisdom, going back over the past, is good for contemplation, for gaining wisdom from the past. Venus gets into a bit of trouble in the middle of the month when it leaves the comfort of its own sign, Libra, and enters sidereal Scorpio on October 12th. Scorpio is a passionate sign and has a talent for gaining power and for secrets and for secretive activities. The planet of relationship in this sign is somewhat suspect, not so likely to compromise for the sake of harmony. By entering Scorpio, Venus gets tied to Mars, the ruler of Scorpio. Venus and Mars are considered enemies in Vedic astrology, so Venus will be at a disadvantage while it transits through an enemy sign. Also, Venus becomes dependent on the strength of Mars during this transit, and Mars itself is not doing so well, since it too is currently in an enemy sign, and shortly after Venus enters Scorpio, Mars will move to its sign of debilitation. Additionally, as soon as Venus enters Scorpio, it will be directly opposed by Uranus, the planet of sudden, unexpected events. Uranus stands for independence, rebels, and rebellion, qualities that are antithetical for Venus, planet of harmony and agreement. So Venus will be in the toilet, especially in mid-October. Venus stays in Scorpio until November 6th. On October 20th, Mars changes signs, entering sidereal Cancer. This marks the beginning of what promises to be a significant transit for the planet of action, force, and conflict. Usually Mars takes about 6 weeks to transit through a sign, but this time Mars will stay in Cancer for 3 months, until January 20th, due to going through a retrograde period which starts on December 6th. Cancer is considered Mars's sign of debilitation. The word debilitation suggests weakness and is actually a rather inaccurate translation of the original Sanskrit term nicca. Unhappy would be a better translation. Mars is one of the natural malefic planets, in other words, capable of doing harm. So, a natural malefic in a sign where it is unhappy can turn into quite a problem. Cancer is the sign of the moon, and therefore displays the qualities of the moon: sensitive, reactive, emotional, and so forth. A planet that is capable of violence in a reactive, emotional sign signifies the potential for bad things happening. At the very least, a lot of drama and anger will be frequent. In personal charts, Mars will cause activation of the sector of your chart containing the sign Cancer. This activation will not be especially pleasant. For an example, here's Kamala Harris's astrology chart. Mars transiting in Cancer puts the planet of force in the second house of her Gemini rising chart, which is where her natal Mars is posited. Transiting Mars will therefore emphasize Ms. Harris's natal Mars. Mars in the second house signifies assertive speech. Problem is, Mars is also hasty and impulsive. So, she has to watch out that she doesn't blurt out something forceful and controversial that damages her cause in the closing weeks of the campaign. Going over to her opponent, Donald Trump's chart, we see something even more disturbing. Mars transiting in Cancer will put the planet of aggression in Trump's 12th house, the house of loss, endings, and hidden activities. The ancient texts describe Mars in the 12th house as an attack by a hidden enemy. In other words, someone working against you from behind your back. The 12th house is your subconscious mind. Mars in this transit produces anxiety. Furthermore, as soon as Mars enters Cancer, it will afflict 2 of Mr. Trump's natal planets, natal Saturn and natal Venus. This could be especially impactful because Venus, the planet of love, in the 12th house of the masses, signifies the love of the masses. In other words, it's what gives him his popularity. But this Mars transit is going to attack Venus and screw things up for him, just in time for the election. Okay, so there's a brief look at planetary patterns for October 2024. And here's a description of what's coming up in October's weekly videos. October 6th, predictions for the U.S. presidential elections. October 13th, Venus in Scorpio and the effects for each rising sign chart. October 20th, Mars transiting in Cancer and the effects for each rising sign chart. October 27th, a preview of planetary patterns for November 2024. You'll not want to miss out on all these great upcoming videos, so if you'd like to have access to October's weekly reports, donate $20 by clicking on or touching the donation card you see at the end of this video, which will take you to a donation page. And if $20 per month is too much for you, you can donate $10. The link for each week's report will be sent to you via your email. Here's the link. Just click or touch the card, which will take you to the donation page. And if the card does not appear or doesn't work, you can find the link in the comment section below. Thank you, and until next week.